We've been working our way through Isaiah chapter 42, looking at this great servant song. And my goal is to do Hebrew grammar in a very, can I say, hopefully basic way to help students that are just even beginning at Hebrew. This is not being done for scholars, but for basic teaching of Hebrew grammar. And I'm deeply committed to inductive study of the language. And so we're in chapter 42. We've been taking small bites at a time, or small pieces of the text in Hebrew. And so we're at verse 7 now. And I see this not only in a near fulfillment, looking at a near servant who could have been Cyrus, Isaiah, but in its final fulfillment, as a Christian minister, I see this as fulfilled by Jesus Christ via the New Testament. So we're at verse 7, and we'll read the Hebrew and talk through the grammar. Lifchoa einayim irvot, lehotzi mimisgar asir, mebeit kela yoshevei choshek. We'll read it slowly, and so if you want to repeat it after me, that would be great. So, lifkoach einayim ivrot, lehotzi mimisgar asir, mebeit kela yoshevei choshek. We would translate that to open the eyes of the blind, to bring out from the dungeon the prisoners, and then from literally the house of the prison, from the prison house, they who sat in darkness. So as we look at this text, we've already done the previous verses of 42. We'll look at some of the vocabulary. We have kela, which means prison, and then pakach, to open, and then yatsa, to bring out. So let's begin, and we'll look at it phrase by phrase to try to gain an understanding of the grammar. First of all, lifkoa einayim ivrot. Notice lifkoach, to open the eyes of the blind. Lifkoach is a cow infinitive construct. Notice the lamed introduces the construct, and then pekoach is the construct form, and that pathak and the chet is a furtive pathak, making sure that we pronounce the chet. So lifkoa, cow infinitive construct from pakach, which means to open. We see the lamed preceding it, as we've said, with the o vowel and the furtive pathak, again emphasizing that it is a cow infinitive construct. Einayim is the dual form of ayin. Ayin means eye, and so duality would be einayim, two eyes. Oznayim, two ears. Raglayim, 2 feet. Yadayim, 2 hands, and so forth. So ayim is a dual form, like in Genesis 1:1. Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim. Ayim, a dual form there as well. So as we continue to move on, notice we have ivrot. Ivrot is a feminine plural ending. Notice the ot. And so what it is saying is we are looking at the eyes of many blind people that the servant will open. And then we move on. Lehotzi mimasger asir. That is, he to bring forth from the dungeon prisoners. Notice lehotzi is a hifil infinitive construct from yatsa, to bring forth. And notice you have your lamed, again, introducing the construct form, and you have a hey followed by a holum, and we know the vowel pattern here to be a holum vav followed by a seriyod, to be a hifil form. The root is from vatsa, and historically, when you look at Hebrew, there are two types of pei-yod verbs. There's the pei vav, like here, vatsa, and then there's yatsa, like yinak, which means something like a baby being fed. So basically, vatsa is a pei vav root, and all of these in the dictionary appear as pei yod, but historically one was pei vav, the other number of verbs that are pei yod in the dictionary were always pei yod. So here we have something interesting happening. Historically, it would have been mouth-say with a pathak under the hey followed by the vav, and that combination in its historical development ended up as a long holum vav, a long o vowel. And that's how we get this form. I remember when I first started studying Hebrew many years ago, I thought that's a weird hifil. But as I was able to study historical Hebrew grammar, we learned that what happens here is the pathak with the vav changed historically to the long holum vav in this hifil form. So then as we go on, notice to bring forth, we are told, from the dungeon or from the prison, prisoners. Notice as we move on in the next phrase, we have from, notice min masger. The min here from, the noon has assimilated into the mim by progressive assimilation. And here we have dungeon in masger. Masger. So to bring forth from the dungeon prisoners. Now, asir is a singular noun, and it means prisoner. However, I would take this as what we call a collective singular. It's singular, but collective in meaning, looking at many prisoners. So to bring forth prisoners from the dungeon, mibeit kela, that is, from the house of the prison, or from the prison house. Notice min, again, is your inseparable preposition from. Beit is from bayit, and here it's in construct with kela, that is, the house of the prison. And notice kela here means prison. So we have two nouns in construct. And then finally, Yoshevei Choshek, those who sit in darkness. Notice Yoshevei is from the root yashav, to sit. And here you have an O class vowel, a holum, and this is a plural participle, kal active participle with the tseriyod showing its masculine plural, followed by choshek, and it is in construct with choshek. So this participial form is in construct with the noun meaning darkness. So those who sit in darkness, the sitters of darkness, we could say. Notice, as we're looking at this, we see the servant going to deliver them. If I would translate it again, it would be, he is a light to open the eyes of the blind, and to bring out prisoners from the dungeon and from the house of prison, those who are sitting in darkness. This is a beautiful text, and historically, it could be looking at those being brought out of the Babylonian captivity. However, I think, and again, those who take that interpretation would apply it to Cyrus or Isaiah's announcement. But I think ultimately, when you look at the New Testament, it's applied to Christ. And so, viewing it in light of the New Testament, I'm reminded of Jesus, who heals the eyes of the blind. He made the statement, I am the light of the world. And to walk in light is to believe in him and to know him, and to walk in the spiritual illumination that he brings. And so what a beautiful picture here. The prisoners in the dungeon in New Testament, I believe, look at deliverance out of the darkness of Satan's kingdom into the kingdom of his beloved Son, we're told in the book of Colossians. So the ultimate goal of Christ as the light of the world is to bring out of spiritual darkness and sin all who are willing to put their faith in him as the deliverer. And so for all of us, we are brought out of darkness into marvelous light when we put our faith in the servant, the divine servant, the God-man, Jesus Christ. But then we move on to verse 8. Notice, Ani Adonai hu shemi. I am the Lord, that is my name. Uchavodi le'acher lo etain, and my glory I will not give to another, tehilati lapesalim, nor my praise to graven images. Notice as we look at this, Shem means name, and kavod means glory, and tehillah means praise. Looking at the vocabulary. Looking now at the grammar inductively, Ani Adonai hu shemi. That phrase, I am the Lord, that is my name. Notice Ani is the first person personal pronoun I. And I believe it's placed here for emphasis. I am the Lord. And notice Yod He Vav He is the tetragrammaton for Yahweh. I am, or we could just translate it, the Lord. And then who here is a demonstrative pronoun, that. So that is my name, Shemi. Notice Shemi is from the noun Shem, meaning name, and here it is in construct with the personal pronoun, first person singular, in the E in the Hirik Yod. So that is my name. U chavodi le'acher lo etain. And my glory I will not give to another, or literally to another I will not give, and then my glory being emphatic here. Notice U is just your conjunction and this is followed then, U chavod, by the noun glory, and E, the pronominal suffix, first person singular. So, and my glory to another, le'acher. Notice le, again, is your preposition, and acher means other or another, followed by lo etain, I will not give. By the way, lo is your negative particle. Etain is from the root natan. It's what we call a one noon or a pay noon verb. And what has happened here in this is a cow, by the way, imperfect, first person singular from natan. So entain becomes etain or entain because the noon has assimilated into the tav by progressive assimilation. So entain historically becomes etain with the doubling of the tav as a result of the nun assimilating into the tav. And the doggish forte is showing that. And so I will not give my glory to another, nor my praise to graven images. U tehilati la pesalim. Notice u is the conjunction, simple conjunction, and tehilati is from tehillah. It means praise. This is where we even get the Tehillim, the Psalms. So it means praise. And notice the construct, Tehillat, with E, the pronominal suffix, first person singular. So my praise to Pesalim, to graven images. Again, Pesalim means graven images, and it's from the root pesel, a graven image. Notice as we translate this, then, I am the Lord. That is my name. I will not give my glory to another, nor my praise to graven images. Again, we're looking at the uniqueness of the Lord, and there's a statement here that Isaiah is making against the practice of idolatry, pointing people to a worship of Him and Him alone as the Lord. It is interesting in 1 John chapter 5, after describing Christ and His divine and human nature without sin as the God-man, over against the Gnostic system that John is dealing with, he ends up by encouraging and warning the readers to free themselves from idols. So I think idolatry can be any form of thought or belief that would take away, as Christians, would take away, I should say, from the glory of God the Father and God the Son. So it's important that even today that we keep ourselves free from idols. Idols meaning idols of materialism, idols of greed, you name it. And that we focus on the Lord. And in the New Testament, Christ, the God-man, that He is to be our focus, not in all of the idols that surround us of all the things that often we can seek after, especially materialism and greed and these kind of things. So we move on to Isaiah 42, verse 9. Notice as we look at verse 9, we'll read it in the Hebrew again. Notice, Harishonot hine va'u. The former things have come to pass. The Chadashot ani magid. And I am declaring new things before they spring forth. B'terem titzmachna, I will cause you to hear them. Ashmiya etchem. Now notice as we look at this text, Isaiah is predicting things before they come to pass. And one of the things he is predicting is the prediction of Cyrus. And what I personally feel, I take a traditional point of view of Isaiah, that Isaiah, by Isaianic authorship, a belief in that, from my own perspective, seen through John 1 or John 12, it seems to me that he's predicting about the coming of Cyrus. And so he's describing new things. But ultimately, again, I would see this in New Testament application to the new things that Christ has brought. So as we move on, notice hine, interjection meaning behold. Bo is the verb to come. Nagad means to declare. Samach means to spring up. And Shema means to hear. So that would be the vocabulary for this verse. Notice harishonot hene ba'u. The former things, behold, they have come to pass. Notice the word harishonim. Here we have the definite article, the ha, and notice it has a commas because the resh cannot take a doubling. Normally, if it's a guttural or a resh, you'll have compensatory lengthening in the preceding pathak because the article was originally hal, where the lamed drops out here, and to show that there is compensatory lengthening from pathak to commas. But at any rate, normally as we go, notice as we go on, the former things, by the way, ot here is showing that we're looking at a feminine noun. This is followed by ba'u, which is the cow perfect third masculine plural from the root bo. In other words, basically what he's saying is the former things, behold, they have come. They've already come to pass. Now I'm going to declare to you new things. V'chadashot ani magid b'terem titzmachna, before they spring forth. Notice v'chadashot means new from chadash, and notice the ot here is your feminine plural ending, meaning new things. So here we have an adjective implying things we can add to the text here. And then it goes on and says, I am declaring ani magid, personal pronoun I. And notice magid here is from the root nagad, to declare. Notice we have a mem prefix and an ai vowel pattern. This, when you look at the vowel patterns, is indicative of a hiphil. The mem gives it away as a participial form. I wanted to say, basically, the mem participle will be found preceding the, what would be, if you're thinking of an imperfect, it would be yag. Let's use the word yagdil, which Weingreen uses in his grammar to magnify. Magdil would be the participial form. And by the way, that mem goes before a pl participle, a pual, hifil, hofal, and hitpael in its participial form. So you think of the imperfect, you think of the vowel pattern, and put a mem prefix, and you have the participle. So new things, I am declaring. The root is nagad, so here we have a pay noon verb, mangid becoming ma-gid, where the noon has assimilated into the gimel by progressive assimilation, another pay noon verb. Before they spring forth, titzmachna. Notice titzmachna, well, first of all, notice beterem, meanings before, and titzmachna is from the root samach, to spring up or to spring forth. It's a cow imperfect, third feminine plural from samach. And notice the na ending shows it as an imperfect feminine plural form here. And so, you know, you think about tishmarna, if we're looking at, again, Weingreen's use of shamar for the third person cow imperfect plural, feminine plural. So what he's talking about is the new things, feminine, before they spring up, ashmiya etchem, I will cause you to hear them. Notice ashmiya is from the root shama, to hear, and here we have another hifil with the ai thematic vowel pattern, pathak under the aleph, followed by the hirik yod between the mem and the ayin. So I will cause you to hear them. And him is your personal pronoun, second person masculine plural. And notice shama simply means to hear. And one other thing that's that we find in this word is the furtive pathak under the ayin, which we've seen before, where the Masoretes put it in so we'd be sure and pronounce it rather than maybe reading it like an olive. So basically, they would want us to read it as ashmiyah, where you could hear that ayin sound. At any rate, if we translated it, would be the former things. Behold, they have come to pass, and new things I am declaring before they spring up, and I will cause you to hear them. The immediate context, in my understanding, is that it is looking at what is about to happen. I personally take Isaiah as the author, and so we're talking about 700 BC, around that time, and he's predicting, I believe, the deliverance that would come under Cyrus the Persian, who would deliver the captives out of Babylon. And so I think we're seeing here a great prophetic teaching that Isaiah is allowed to bring forth from the Holy Spirit, even naming the name Cyrus. Again, some have a problem with that. How can someone know the future and even the names beforehand? Well, I think for me personally and others who hold to a traditional viewpoint of authorship, it is believed that the Holy Spirit revealed that and even gave Isaiah the name Cyrus. So at any rate, when we look at it then, as I'm trying to do from its final fulfillment in the New Testament, I believe the final deliverer is the Lord Jesus Christ, who delivers us from bondage of sin into the marvelous light of his glorious salvation. So I'm hoping this brief grammar will help. We continue to do these in Greek and Hebrew, and there's others we've done already. I'm hoping it's a help to those that want to revive their Hebrew or even begin to learn the Hebrew. God bless in your study of the Hebrew Scriptures and the Greek New Testament as well.